healed them, and then he fed them. The miracle. Now he's again going by himself to be alone. The disciples joined him there. John had heard them say he's a prophet. That's in John's book. This man's a prophet. This man's a prophet. So when Jesus says, who do they say I am? They had heard him say it. That's what John is saying. This man's a prophet. Some say you're Elijah. Some say you're this. Some say you're that. Peter doesn't remember this conversation happening. He just remembers the boat because of what happened to him when he got in the boat. So he doesn't remember this part. But Jesus says, who are these people saying that I am? And he says, well, they say you're a prophet. So Jesus is not asking just because he's nosy or because he wants attention or he wants flattery. He knows what they just experienced. You were just there and you saw this miracle and they say I'm a prophet. What's the lesson you're learning? Who do you say I am? You saw what just happened. How's that affecting you? Because it happened for a reason. And so he said to them, someone read verse 20, go ahead.
He said to them, but who do you say I am? Peter answered and said, the Christ of God. And he strictly warned and commanded them
to tell
this to no one.
Right. So he said, do not tell this to anyone. So, who do you say? So you really get who I am. They're thinking he's a prophet. He's a prophet. Some say you're Elijah. Some say you're this. So whoever told Luke this story, Luke wasn't there. Remember this part of it. John was there. He remembered this part of it. And so Jesus says, if you think I am the Messiah, don't tell that to anyone because I'm not ready yet. They have a different motive. If they know I'm the Messiah, they'll try to make me the king, and that's not why I'm here. They don't get why I'm here. As Christians, sometimes when the Spirit shows up, we don't get why it's here. So I'm saying the church will be happening and we feel the Spirit. We don't know why it's here. Oh, it must be here so that we can dance. Not that it's nothing wrong with dancing. Or it's got to be here for this reason. And we need to know, why do I feel the Spirit right now? What does he want me to do? We already have an assumption in our mind of what the Spirit's supposed to do. We already had an assumption of what Jesus was supposed to do. He's supposed to come and liberate us from the Romans. That's what they already decided that. So once Jesus showed up, they were ready for that to happen. If you have a preconceived idea in your head about what church is about, then when you feel the Spirit must be here so we can do this or do that. And we don't stop and wait. And we just feel it and go. So they saw Jesus, they were ready to go. That must be, and a lot of times we're wrong. We don't know the mind of Christ. We can know it if we get quiet and wait. But we often just take off too fast because we're in a hurry to make something happen. So this is the part that Matthew doesn't remember, that Peter didn't remember, that Jesus first wanted to make sure, do you know who I am and do you know why I'm here? And because that miracle happened, do you know what it means? Who do you say I am? Peter. But he asked it specifically to Peter because of what's about to happen. So who am I, Peter? You're the Christ. Okay, don't tell anybody that. But flesh and blood has not revealed this to you. You get it. So you get me, Peter? Peter, yes. Okay. So John chapter 6, verse 15 through 17, the second part of verse 15 to 17, let's read how John remembers it.
Therefore, when Jesus perceived that they were about to come and take him by force to make him king, he departed again to the mountain by himself alone. Now when evening came, his disciples went down to the sea, got into the boat, and went over the sea toward Capernaum.
So that's what really happened. It didn't happen the way Matthew saw it. Matthew said, as soon as he fed the 5,000, he managed to get in the boat and cross over, and then he went to pray. But what really happened, if you put it all together, as soon as he finished feeding the 5,000, he went over by himself because he's still mourning his brother, his cousin whose head had gotten chopped off, they all heard the people murmuring about Jesus. Well, he must be a prophet. Look what he did. He just fed the 5,000. So they went to Jesus. Jesus said, who do they say I am? Not because Jesus is nosy, but he wanted the disciples. So who do they say I am? They say you're Elijah. They say you're this. You say you're that. Okay, who do you think I am? You're the Christ. Peter's ready to jump on it. Good. Don't tell them that, but you remember that. And then Jesus went by himself to pray. So they're waiting for Jesus to come back down. They're like, oh, it's getting late. We're going to cross over. We're ready to cross over now. So they went and got in the boat. Matthew and Mark both describe that as Jesus made us get in the boat. Because he left us by ourselves. So I guess he did make them get in the boat but he didn't literally say, get in that boat. But because it was dark, we had no choice but to get in the boat and go on and cross over. Right? So they interpreted that as Jesus made us get in the their days, he left us there, so we had to get in the boat and cross because it was getting late. It was the first watch, and we'll look at what that means in a second. Does anyone have, I think it's Luke 8. Luke 8, chapter 46. Verse 46. 43.
43 says, a woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, a woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with consistent bleeding, and she could find no cure. Coming up behind Jesus, she touched the fringe of his robe. Immediately the bleeding stopped.
Okay. So a woman had suffered for many years but was able to find a cure. Meaning she tried but was unable to. Nobody healed her. Now if you read Mark 5, I think it's Mark 5 verse 23. Mark 5, 23. I want to see how Mark and Luke describe the situation.
Mark 5:23.
Yeah, I think it's Mark 5:23.
And besought him greatly.
It says, my little daughter is dying. That's Mark 5:23. Is that it?
6:23? Maybe it's 6:23. Oh, I'm trying to find it. Because they both have the same.
They both have, they talk about the little girl.
What does 6:23 say?
It says,
He'll swear that to her.
Is it 4:23? Sorry. I know it's 23.
If any man ears, let him hear.
No.
If any man have any ears, let him hear.
So the first one was Mark 8. Oh, 26. 26.
Mark 8:26.
No. I'm saying the first one I had to go to was Mark 8:23, right? 43. And then, no, was it Mark?
Mark.
No, I had to go to Luke.
Mark 5.
It was Luke, Mark,
Thank you. So,
what is it?
Mark 5:27.
Start at Mark 5:26. The first one was Luke's version.
Yeah, 25 through.
Yeah, so 3:26 says she was, go ahead.
She had suffered a great deal from many doctors, and over the years she had spent everything she had to pay them.
Okay, so in this version, she suffered many things from these physicians.
Many things.
Yes, like these physicians had just messed her up. When Luke described it, she had tried to get a cure, they had tried to help her, and they were unable to. So in Luke's version, the physicians tried to help her. She tried to get a cure. Mark says she suffered many things of many physicians, and he blames the physicians, right? Mark and Luke. Luke doesn't blame the physicians because he's a physician. Mark and Luke traveled together with Paul and Barnabas. Mark got in trouble, got sent home, caused a big fight. Luke's the educated physician, got to keep traveling with him. Mark's mad because Luke didn't want to, you want to travel, Paul wanted to travel with Luke and not with him. So Paul went off with Luke, Mark went off with Mark. So Mark and Luke have a little thing. So there are little subtle things like that that you can read in the scriptures. When Mark says, she suffered many things and many physicians. Because he's blaming the physicians, like the physicians were torturing her. Luke describes it, she tried for many years to get a cure, but they weren't able to find it. So two people can describe things, the same thing in two different ways. You just have to know their personalities. You have to understand where they're coming from when we're reading the scriptures. So all that Peter remembers is Jesus made him get in the boat. John, who was also there, remembers that Jesus talked with them first, and that he went to Peter and says, who do you say I am? And Peter says, you're the Christ, the Son of the living God. So John makes sure everybody remembers that Peter said you're the Christ. Okay, so now they're in the boat. Let's look at Matthew chapter 14, verse 23 through 24.
When he had sent the multitudes away, he went up on the mountain by himself to pray. Now when evening came, he was alone there. But the boat was now in the middle of the sea, tossed by the waves, for the wind and the spirit.
So was this the first time, this is a trick question, not really, that they were stuck in a boat in the middle of a storm? No. They'd already had this experience before. This is the first time. What's the difference in this and the other time?
Jesus was on the boat with him.
Okay. Right. The first time Jesus was on the boat with them. This time they're by themselves. So let's read that first experience that they had on the boat, Matthew chapter 8, verse 23 to 27.
Now when he had got into the boat, his disciples followed him.
Who got in the boat first? Jesus got in the boat first, and they went. Jesus said, come, let's go to the other side. So he's already given them the word. We're going to go to the other side. He gets in the boat, the disciples follow him. Now, Jesus is up the mountain, and they get in the boat. Peter's trying to say he made us get in the boat. But they just got in the boat because it's dark and we need to get to the other side. Okay?
Yeah, and she said the Father. Okay.
So, in Matthew chapter 8, he gets in the boat first. They follow him. Go ahead in verse 24.
Suddenly, a fierce storm struck the lake, with waves breaking into the boat. But Jesus was sleeping.
Right.
The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, Lord, save us. We're going to drown. Jesus responded, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. Then he got up and rebuked the winds and the waves, and suddenly all was calm.
So he said, why are you afraid? You have so little faith. What were they supposed to have faith in? Not just, of course, but not just him. What had he said?
Go to, what's that?
Yeah.
Let's go to.
Come to the other side. So it's not just a general faith in Jesus. It's faith in what he says to us. He tells us specific things, and that's what he's going to do. Right? So you can't say, well, Jesus is with me. I'm going to go up to those gang members and cuss them all out, or tell them to go to church. Now, Jesus said, go up to those gang members. Then go up to them and he's going to do something, right? But if he didn't say that, he can be with you, but he's not going to do nothing because he didn't send you there, right? Jesus is with me. Yeah, he's with you. He didn't leave. But then why did the gang members beat me up and I'm in the hospital? Jesus didn't say, go to those gang members. So it's not just the fact that Jesus was with them. He's not saying, why don't you have faith in me? I said, come, let's go to the other side. That's what you're supposed to have faith in. I said, let's go to the other side. Then I got in the boat, and you got in the boat and followed me. So you know we're going to make it to the other side. But anything I say to you, I'm going to do that. And sometimes we teach faith, anything that we say, Jesus has to do. If you say to the mountain, be thou removed, be thou cast into the sea. You can have whatever.
Ask anything in my name.
Right, in my name. In that day, like I can sign, I can sign stuff in my boss's name if he sent me. Go to the thing. I've already bought this television set. Just sign my name because so I'm signing it in his name. It's not my money that's buying it. I can only get it because he's already paid for it. So Jesus has already paid for stuff in our lives. We can have that.
There's another scripture too.
Thank you.
That when he said we hit the donkey, and he said, "This fellow whose master
Sent you. And that's why they can get it, because Jesus has already, if Jesus has said it, we can do it. But we can't just make stuff up and then make him do it, because then we're God and he's our servant.
I don't know about making it up, but the prophet Elijah, I believe when it was a drought, I'm not going to that scripture, when it was a drought, that he told, I don't know who it was, told, I'm going to say the Mennonites, told them that there won't be any water until I say it.
Right.
And then God honored what he said.
But God told him to say that first. It's not like Elijah. Elijah doesn't control the universe. Here's how we know. As soon as that incident was over, Jezebel said, "I'm going to kill you." And he ran.
That is true.
Now, if it was about him, he would have said, "No, Jezebel, you won't do that. I will cast down water." But God didn't tell him that. That's why he ran and hid. Because he didn't have power. He can only do what God told him to do. So if the Spirit of God comes on you, you can go to somebody and say, "Hey, rise out of that wheelchair." God's not going to say it. We're going to be the one that says it. But we're saying what he told us to say. Remember, Jesus said, "I say what I hear God tell me to say." He says, "There are many things I can say to you, but I only say what the Holy Spirit tells me to say." Because I have plenty of opinions about what I'm saying that I keep to myself, and I only speak what the Lord did. So that's why, this is what I see God doing. That's what I do. I can see God hovering over you, healing you. So I just come up and say, in the name of Jesus, he didn't say the name of Jesus, but he says, "Rise and be healed," because that's what God is telling him to do. So anything that God is leading us to do or telling us to do, he backs it up. So he says, "Come to go to the other side." He gets in the boat. It doesn't matter how many storms come. It's like, why are you fearful? Where's your faith? In what I said. Not just where's your faith in me. But where's your faith? I said we're crossing over. If I said we're crossing over, we're going to cross over. The storm can't stop us. So anything that God ever tells us, and we speak it forth, it's going to happen. But sometimes it's taught, say it, and then God will back you up. And that's like me saying, that house over there is going to be mine. Not if you say so. If God told you that, then it's going to be his.
Right.
Then it's going to be yours.
Right.
Something's going to happen, you're going to, So we have to learn that. I mean, because my Bible school teacher taught it incorrectly. He didn't mean to, but he was trying to say you can have what you say, but to some people it sounded like, so just whatever you say, just whatever you think. I think I'll win $1 billion tomorrow. But he's trying to say, if God speaks to you, start saying it. Speak it out loud. That's why Abraham, God changed Abram's name to Abraham. You are the father of many nations. He started, whenever his wife would call him, Abraham, Abraham, he was saying, Father of many nations, Father of many nations. It wasn't true yet, but God had already seen that it was going to happen. When he changed Jacob's name to Israel, he would change people's names. When he showed up with Gideon, he said, Gideon, you great man of valor. Remember, Gideon was hiding. God was saying those things that be not as though they were. So we start saying and putting ourselves in agreement with what God is speaking to us. But we don't get to just say it and then God has to back us up. But if it's spoken to our hearts, we say, yeah, I'm going to pastor church someday. Or I'm going to live in that, or, because God has said that to our hearts. So when Jesus had said, let's cross over, he's mad that they're suddenly screaming. Like, you thought I was making that up? Like I was just, I hope we can cross over. God's never hoping. If he says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And as long as we get ourselves in alignment with what he's saying, then we start speaking and saying the same thing that he says. So when he asked Peter, who do you say that I am? You're the Christ. He wanted Peter to say. But he wanted Peter also to believe it. Because sometimes as Christians we just say stuff. Yes, he's my healer. We don't believe it. We're just saying stuff because it's church time and it's time to sound holy. So Peter said it. So the first time they went over, Jesus was in the middle of the boat with them. This time he goes up to the mountain knowing that they're going to get in the boat and cross over. They've got to cross over. They can't just... So they get in the boat and cross over. But he also knows that he did that miracle of the fish and the loaves for them to teach them a lesson. So certain things happen in our lives because God knows what's coming up. And he's preparing us for the thing that's coming up. So they cross over. They're in the boat. Let's turn the page. Matthew chapter 14, verse 25.
Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea.
So they're in the middle of they've gone halfway through, the wind is blowing, they can't go anywhere, the waves, they're just stuck. In the fourth watch he came to them. Do you know what time that is? You know what the fourth watch of the night? You're thinking 4 hours has gone by from 6 to 10, is that what you're saying, 10?
9.
Okay, it's the fourth watch of the night. Well, it's all right. Let's look at Mark chapter 13, verse 35.
Watch therefore, for you do not know when the master of the house is coming, in the evening, at midnight, at the crowing of the rooster, or in the morning.
So those are the 4 watches of the night.
Where?
Mark chapter 13, verse 35. Those are the 4 watches. There's the evening, midnight, the crowing of the rooster, or in the morning. Evenings was from 6 to 9. Because at 6 o'clock now they don't have street lamps, it's dark. So we think the new day starts at midnight, but for them the new day started at 6. Not midnight. For some reason at midnight, okay, now it's Tuesday, or now it's Thursday. For them, at 6 o'clock, now it's Thursday, that was the new day. Well, now it's night. Right at 6 o'clock at night, it's dark. Like now, it's dark. You know, by 6, it's starting to get dark. So evening is from 6 to 9. Then the next watch, the second watch, is from 9 to 12. That's midnight. So the first watch, they go, okay, 9 o'clock, that's the first watch. Midnight is the next watch. 3 in the morning is when the rooster crows. So if you live on a farm, right, you live on a farm? 3 in the morning, the rooster's crowing. And then 6, now the sun's starting to get up. So you have 9, 12, 3, and 6. So they left at 6. It should have taken them an hour to get across. It's the fourth watch of the night. It's 6 in the morning. The sun's about to start coming up. And they've been for 12 hours in the boat, wind blowing, the waves, scared. He waited till the midnight, what we would call the midnight hour. For us, midnight is, you know, it's midnight hour. He waited till the fourth watch of the night on purpose before he's walking on the sea. So they're scared, they're upset, right? And then they see Jesus. Let's see how Matthew describes it. Matthew 14, verse 26 to 27.
And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, "It's a ghost."
Why? Because he hadn't done that before. They didn't know he could do that. Now, interestingly, he had just fed 5,000, really 10,000 people. There were 5,000 men, but there were probably 10,000 people altogether. He fed 10,000 people with 5 loaves and 6, 7, whatever it was. It wasn't a lot. It'd be enough for my lunch with some barbecue sauce. I'll barbecue. So there was enough to feed us 4, and yet he fed 10,000 people. So he was master of the elements. Like the laws of physical nature don't apply to him because God is the one that invented them. So he can break them anytime he wants. And that's what he was trying to show them with the fish and the loaves of bread. You know, I just said fed 10,000 people and we just had 7 loaves. Does that mean it? Is that clicking? And again, we've had miracles. We were just talking last week because when I said Kalita, I just remember when Chris, her son, was in that car accident. Now, what happened? The roof, and then it flipped. What?
The car hit the divider on the freeway and it was ejected through the front window onto the other side of the freeway.
He was ejected.
Right, and the car exploded, and that's when they saw him on the other side of the freeway.
So he should not be alive.
Right.
Oh, yes, because God did a miracle.
No, yes.
Right, yeah.
He should not be.
He should not be alive. But he's
Right.
and he was going 65 or whatever he was doing because he was young. You know,
Wow.
hit the divider, ejected through the car, out of the car, flipped over, exploded. He should not be alive. But God does, I mean, we all have a story where, you know, I shouldn't be alive today, or this, and so God does these miracles, like in 5,000, so that the next time we're in trouble, we won't freak out, but we still do. Because we don't think, well, the same God who saved that boy from, he's the same God that has to pay my rent tomorrow, but, you know, he may be able to heal people, but he can't come up with $25, so.
The best scripture for me for that is, be still and know that I am God.
Right.
If you remember what he did for you back then, right now, I'm gonna do it. I did it then, I'm gonna do it now.
Right. Exactly. So that's what he's trying to get across to them. I don't have to physically be in the boat with you. I'm still God. I can reach you. It's cool. You don't have to panic. I was in the boat the first time, and now that you were panicking, now that the women raise it, well, where is it? Just because you don't feel me doesn't mean if I've sent you across, you can make it. You will make it. The storm will not defeat you. But they're still panicking. So they see Jesus walk in the water and think, oh, it's a ghost, because he hadn't done that before. But Jesus knew things we never thought of.
So does this verify the fact that ghosts are real?
They are.
I'm saying, you said there's, so, you know, I saw a ghost.
But then, was it a
All the
ghost?
time.
Was it a ghost?
I'm asking. Verify.
Was that a ghost? But was that a ghost?
No.
No.
It was Jesus. So this doesn't verify that they're a ghost. I'm not saying there are or they aren't, but this scripture, they thought it was a ghost. Right? I fell asleep. Or was that you? I don't remember this story. Was this you? My hand was on my face when I woke up.
And you thought it was a ghost?
Huh? Thought it was a bug. Let me grab this book. Oh no. Right. Just because I thought it was a spider in my hand doesn't mean it was. It was my own hand. So that you can't. Does that verify that? No. They thought it was a ghost. It was not. It was Jesus.
Yeah.
You're so
Like you
funny.
said, they never saw that before. Here comes Jesus walking on the water. They never seen anybody walking on the water.
Right.
So it had to be a ghost because
they had
nobody walk on water.
Right. That's what they thought. Even though Jesus Peter said, "You're the Christ," but you can't walk on water. So now there must be a ghost. And they cried out in fear. However, verse 27.
But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, be of good cheer. It is I, do not be afraid.
Okay, let's look at John's version.
But he said,
John chapter 6, verse 20 and 21.
but he said to them, it is I do not be afraid. Then they willingly received him into the boat, and immediately the boat was at the land where they were going.
So in John's version, and John was there, once they found out it was Jesus, they said, come on in the boat, and then we were on the other side immediately. It's like we were just there all of a sudden. We were talking earlier about how a lot of people watched, just use it as an example, memorial service, or you've seen parts of the memorial service for Kobe that was on Monday, but we all might tell it differently, what happened. We might remember the order differently. We remember what happened, but you might say, yeah, I think it started off with Kobe Bryant's wife coming. Somebody else said, no, it started off with Beyonce, and then next was Michael Jordan. You remember what happened, but you may not remember the order because we're humans. So when John tells it, once Jesus got in the boat, we were at shore. Now, that's not what happened. Peter had an incident, but John's not thinking about Peter. Even though they were matched up together with Jesus, Peter's the one that's making John crazy all the time. John's calm waiting at the tomb, Peter's running in. You know, John's talking to Jesus, Peter's going, why are you talking to him? So they have an interesting relationship. John's, he says that the disciple whom Jesus loved was laying on his breast at the Last Supper. He's talking about himself. And he said, and Peter's asking him, ask him, you know, is it I who betrayed him? And, you know, that, it's like, I'm trying to have a moment with Jesus and thinking about this other thing. And so Peter and John just have an interesting relationship. Yes, sir.
So basically you're saying that the chain of events,
Yes?
the men that went there gave three different interpretations?
Yes, like humans. They all remember things differently, right? So John just remembers that it happened. He didn't even want to tell what happened to Peter. Interestingly, Mark gives the same thing, because when Peter told it, he didn't remember what happened. I mean, he didn't mention that to Mark, because to Peter it was an embarrassing incident. So when you read Mark, don't forget this is Peter's version. Mark spent the last part of his life with Peter, and Peter told him all these stories. So Mark chapter 6, verse 48.
Now we saw them
Straining.
and rowing, for the wind was against them. Now about the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea, and would have passed them by.
Right, stop. So, this is Lisa's favorite verse. Right. So, Peter's telling us to Mark, they're in the boat rowing. Jesus, I'm going across. He's like, is he passing by? So they called to him. Like, if I hadn't called out, he would have just walked right by us. Because they were fine. They weren't going to die. And he would have just passed them by. He was not coming to rescue them.
Remember we talked about it in Sunday school last week. Jesus don't pass me by, pass me not, my gentle Savior.
Right, pass me not. This is where that verse comes from. Pass me not. In Peter's mind, because Peter's the one that's telling this to Mark. In Peter's mind, he would have just walked right by. Peter's thinking, where are you going? If I hadn't called out to Jesus, he would have walked right by. So don't forget, Peter's the one that's saying this to Mark. No one else felt that. John said, we welcome him to the boat. He came right to the boat, and then immediately went to the side. But when Peter tells it to Mark, Jesus was about to walk on by and forget all about it. He saw us straining. This is how he described it. He saw us straining and rowing, and he was just walking on by. Jesus, where are you going? So that's how Peter felt about it. That Jesus was just going to forget about us, and he was going to walk on by. No one else interpreted it that way but Peter. He's the one that told the story to Mark. Okay, let's look at Matthew chapter 14. Because Matthew was there and remembers it. Because even Mark doesn't say what happened next. Only Matthew says what happens next. So verse 28 to verse 30.
And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water.
So they don't know who it is. They don't know. They just see somebody walking in the water. They don't know Jesus can also do that. So Jesus just stopped and he's staring at them. And he waits till the fourth watch. He waits till the last minute because God is slow. He will wait till the last minute. What's wrong with him? So Peter's, if it's really you, command me to come to you. So he says, come. I'll just read it. Now that's all he says, and that's enough. Remember when he just said, let's go to the other side. That's all he said. He doesn't keep saying stuff over and over. We want more signs. He doesn't give us more signs. I remember I was driving somewhere. I'd never gone there before. I was visiting a friend. I programmed it in, and the white woman's in my ear telling me, you know, to go. So I'm waiting for the exit.
How do you know she won?
I specifically asked for it to be there. I let Kevin Clark give me directions. He'll you have a choice.
God slow, you not.
So it was like 10 miles that I had to drive, and I had gone 8 miles, and she hadn't said anything else. I thought I must have missed an exit because it should be here right now, but she just said, she just gave that one. I pulled up to the side of the road. I was like, oh, I know I missed it, but I hadn't. It was 2 more miles to go. And once I got there, finally she said, and now I'm going, the next block. You know how she is. She waits me like a block away. But that's how Jesus is. I already said it once. I'm not going to say it again. I don't need to say it again. I need you to believe what I said. But we, okay, if that was really you, say one more time. He's like, no. I thought I said, come on. That's it. You didn't say anything else. So Peter gets out of the boat, as we know. I'll just read it. So and when Peter had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus, which is what Peter asked for. Verse 30, but when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid. So what made him afraid?
The wind.
The wind. Him looking at the wind instead of taking his eye off Jesus. Right. Clearly.
That's what we do.
Yes, sir. That's my lesson. But thank you for that.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. So I'm glad you know that, though. Now live it, Peter. I know a lot of stuff, but you got to live it, okay? But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, so he's looking at the wind instead of Jesus, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, which I love that because he didn't sink. He's getting more faith in the wind than in Jesus. We have more faith in what the doctor says than Jesus. We have more faith in the bank statement than Jesus. We have more faith, you know what I'm saying? And the more faith you put into the other thing, you're going to start to sink. Because now your faith is in that other thing. And that other thing can't hold you up. So he's looking at Jesus, and he's looking at the wind, he's beginning to sink, and then he cried out saying, Lord, save me. Okay, 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18. Someone read that for me.
While we do not look at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. So
that's hard. So everything that we can see is vanishing, is disintegrating, right? Make a ham sandwich and come back 5 years later and see if it's still there. First of all, I would have eaten it. But second of all, it just slowly disintegrates, right? Buildings crumble. Everything we're looking at is temporary. We have to put our faith in what's not seen, but we put faith in what we can see. I can see the x-rays, I can see what the doctor said, I can see my bank statement, I can see, and so that's what informs us too often, instead of God informing us. We're always looking at other things, but it's all temporary. It's all temporary. We have to put our faith in what's eternal, what's not seen. Because what's not seen will never go away. And so Peter's looking at the wind instead of Jesus. And he had just said to him, who do you say I am, Peter? Why did Jesus ask him that? So that it would stay in his head. Well, you're the Christ. Oh, really? Okay, you think so? Because I happen to know something you don't know. In about 12 hours, you and I are going to be out to sea, and I'm going to find out if you really think I'm the Christ. Do you really think I'm the Christ? Because if you think I'm the Christ, you're not going to panic. Because if I'm really the Messiah, then I'm blowing these winds. Why? Because the winds are so. And and God doesn't panic, and He doesn't show up in our bedrooms and say, "Don't be afraid. Stop looking at your bank statement." If you've prayed and He's given you peace about whatever He sent you to do.
Yes.
Let me separate that though. If you decided to do it and you didn't ask Him first, then we need to panic. Because He's not ever obligated to back up what we came up with. He will watch. That's what I said. If you walk into a bunch of gang members, He didn't send you there, you will get beat up. Yes, sir.
So you're saying basically that there's a difference between God's work and our work.
Yes, sir.
Our works are not. God's work is permanent.
Right.
What is going or happen without this life. Our works is just basically what we see right now.
Not just what we see right now, but the things that we attempt to do. Okay, because I taught a Bible study for a friend of mine on Monday, and we were looking at the 3 times that the children of Israel actually went up against the tribe of Benjamin. It's that story where the tribe of Benjamin had killed that girl and they chopped up her body and sent it all around. Okay, so we're going to punish the tribe of Benjamin. So it's 11 tribes against 1. There's only 23,000 in the tribe of Benjamin, and there's 400,000 of them. So 400,000 people went against 23,000. They asked God, should we go? He said, yes. So they went, and they lost. They came back crying and weeping, went to the temple. How should we go? He said, Judah should go first. So Judah should go first. So they put Judah first, and they went and they lost. They came back the third day crying, Lord, I don't understand. They fasted and prayed, and they finally went, when should we go? And God said, tomorrow. So God's will, done in God's way, but it has to be God's timing. All three of those things have to go together. You have to first find out if it's God's will. If it's His will, He'll back it up. If you do it the way He told you to do it, and that's the thing that often trips us up, is we have our own way of doing it. We find Hagar and say, I know it's not from Sarah, it's Hagar. That's why we have a child with. And then you start with an Ishmael. So we do it our own way, or we do it in the wrong timing. We just think it has to happen right now. So any of those three things are out of joint, it's not going to work. Have they asked Him the first time, should we go? God, they didn't ask the other stuff. Should we go? Yes, you should go. Well, that's all you're going to ask God. He's not going to tell you more. How should we go? Judah should go first. If the first day they said, and when should we go? 3 days from now. Then it would have worked. So the scriptures are pretty clear, you know, they should have waited 3 days. Yes, sir.
It's funny though. You're talking about this, and what I'm thinking about, I was thrown out of the car on the passenger side. I was driving.
You were driving?
I was driving, and I was thrown out the passenger side, and the car spun around me, going down the freeway. I jump up and run after the car. And so then, by this, what we're studying today, see, I was only 19. And so studying this today gave me a better understanding of what really happened.
See.
Why did he say it? Because he had something to do.
Yeah. Yeah. The devil can't stop what God's put in motion. So if God puts it in motion, the devil can't stop it. You know? If we put it in motion, the devil can't stop it. Because it was just our idea. It wasn't God's idea.
Yes.
So we're trying to make something work. It's never going to work. It's never going to make it work. Because God did not tell you to do that. You told me to do that.
Yes, also, but also from my experience, I learned that even though I want something, that might not be what is necessarily needed for me to do at that time.
Right.
That's not what God wants me to do. I'm forcing something to happen, and He has me to do something else. My job is to do something, but it's to do it somewhere else.
Right. A different place, a different time, a different
And help someone else.
So we have to find out what God wants. But if He wants it, it's going to work. And then we can't start looking at the wind and looking at everything else. If we have that confidence that if He said do it, it doesn't matter. The winds can blow. We can get thrown out of a car. You can't stop it. Car can tip over, burst into flame. You can't stop it. If God says it's going to happen, nothing can stop it. But if God didn't say it, it's not going to happen. So the first time they got in the boat, come on, let's go to the other side, the wind's going up and they're panicking. So He's working with them, He's talking with them, He feeds 5,000. Now, who do you say? You're the Christ, okay. And they're ready to get the boat again. Winds come up and they panic again because we get back, we forget. And so when Jesus comes to them, where are you going, Jesus? This is Peter. He's about to pass them by. But we called to him and, okay, that's really you. Okay, come on. Remember you said I was the Christ. So He's walking on the water, but that's not going to stop the wind from, you can be doing what God told you to do, that's not going to stop the wind. Just because the wind shows up doesn't mean you're not doing what God told you to do.
What's a good way for you? What's a good way to don't forget, not forget? You know, Jesus showed us that, He was in the boat,
Right.
got you, yada, 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 and you get right in the middle of the drama all over again, and then you forget again.
Right, we have to remind ourselves. When I was younger, I find certain scriptures and I would write them down, things I felt God had spoken to me. I'd have them in my mirror when I got up in the morning. You know, I say, greater is he that's in me in the world. I mean, that's like brushing my
The
teeth.
affirmations kind of.
Right. Scriptures that I felt God had led me to. Things that I wanted to change my thinking about who God was. I take them to my visor in my car and I flip it down and I read it out loud. And I just have these scriptures in different places so I can remind myself, you know, and thou shalt lay hands to the sick and they shall recover. Because I had to like I had to brainwash myself. I mean, I had to wash out a lot of old thinking that saw God a certain way. And so, because you're going to, stuff's going to run through your mind no matter what. So you can decide to think about the things of God or those worries. When we were teaching earlier on how Jesus taught them to pray, he immediately tells them, but don't worry, because if you're worrying, that's what's going to be in your mind most of the time instead of what I've told you. He said, you've got to forgive when you pray, because if you're carrying all this anger in your heart, that's what you're going to run over in your mind. We do that when we're showering. We remember that fight we had with that person, what we should have said, and we spend a lot of time, well, next time I see him, I'm going to say that, you know, and that's what our mind, that's what we have faith in. We have faith in anger, we have faith in worry. We're going to pay, instead of, my God shall supply all my needs according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. We should be able to quote these scriptures and calm ourselves with them. So Jesus, after he taught them how to pray, immediately said, these are the things that are going to come and steal. Judging one another. Just read the whole rest. These are all the things that are going to steal the word from you. So we've got to just rehearse it in our heads. But first be sure that it's what God is saying to us. And if it is, nothing can stop it. Because there's 3 types of storms. This is the 3rd kind of storm, Johnny. Oh, I know you are. The first type of storm means that God is changing your direction. That's why the winds are blowing. Because you're going the wrong way, Jonah. I'm going to blow you back to the middle of where I sent you. So you don't fight the wind. You let the wind go ahead and blow you in a different direction. You shouldn't be over there. That's why that thing happened to you. Because you're not supposed to be there. So I'm going to stop you from going. And because you've got to be over here. So there's winds that the storm that changes your direction. There's storms that changes your transportation. The way you're doing, you are going the right way, but the way you're going about it is totally wrong. So the Holy Spirit broke up Paul's boat. He was supposed to go to Rome, but he was in the wrong boat. That's not how I'm going to get you there. So he was going in the right direction, but he was in the wrong vehicle. So sometimes we can choose the wrong thing to get us there. We heard it correctly, but we spent, okay, I know I'm supposed to, I'm just making this up, start a music ministry. So I'm going to get a piano player and a drummer and an organ and a bass guitar and a guitarist and a tambourine player, do all this stuff. And God didn't say that. He told you to start a music. So that means just you and a microphone. So why didn't all that work? I thought, because that's not the way I told you to do it. You're making that up. I didn't say do all that. You did that. So I'm not going to back that up. Right? So he will destroy your transportation and make you get on a different boat. And then he'll get you there. So we have to examine how are we doing it? What are the ways that we're doing to get there? Because the way we're trying to get there is not of God. Or that this time of storm is coming to deepen your devotion. Yes. That's the only thing, the only reason that storm is there, so when he gets you through it, you'll have that much more faith in him. That's the purpose of the storm. The wind doesn't mean that anything's wrong. Now, if you're Jonah, going in the wrong direction, the wind does mean something's wrong. If you're Paul, and you're on the wrong boat, the wind does mean something's wrong. But in this case, nothing was wrong. The winds are going to blow. I'm just letting them blow so that you see I'm bigger than the wind. Oh, you got that report from the doctor that said this? That's just the wind. I'm bigger than that report. Next time you go to the doctor, they're going to go, oh, we couldn't find it. It's gone. So I let that wind blow in your life to deepen your devotion, to deepen your faith. So that's why it's here. I did the miracle of the 5,000 so you would get it. So Peter, you said I'm the Messiah. I'm looking right at you. But why are you looking at the wind? I'm bigger than the wind. That's why you're starting to sink. You're taking your eye off me. You said the right words, but they weren't in your heart. You didn't really believe I was the Messiah. You just thought that was the holy thing to say. So he caught him. So Matthew chapter 14, verse 31.
And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, O you of little faith, why did you doubt?
Why did you doubt? You said I was the Messiah just when we were on the shore. And now why are you doubting? Why do you think I'm going to let you? You just said that. So here's Mark's verse, Mark 6, chapter 51 through 52. And now again, this is what Peter said. This is Peter's version of the story. Mark 6, 51 through 52.
Then he went up into the boat to them, and the wind ceased.
So he doesn't mention to Mark how he started to sink. That was embarrassing to him. Go on.
And they were greatly amazed in themselves beyond measure and marveled. For they had not understood about the loaves, because their heart was hardened.
So that part that Peter did remember, that this was about the loaves. That's why that all happened. And we forgot that he had just done that miracle, and we were on the boat. When we were in the boat, our hearts were really hard, and we weren't really taking it in. Jesus did it, and we just said, well, yeah, he did that. What about this? Can he do this? And when your heart is tender, you take in the lesson. You look at what's happening in your life, and you say, okay, Lord, why is this happening? How can I learn from this? When your heart is hardened, God just get me through this, and he gets you through it, and then you just go on to the next thing, and you don't ever absorb the lesson, because you're just trying to get rescue. You're just trying to feed the 5,000. We got all these people, we got to feed them. So when he feeds them, go, oh, that's over, and we go on to the next thing. That's called having a hard heart. Instead of, wow, he just fed that 5,000. What can I take from that? Why did that happen? What does that mean? That's having a tender heart. A hard heart is that you're just glad that God rescued you from it, and then you just move on. So he says, we forgot about the loaves, because our heart was hard. And Peter's realizing that, even though he didn't tell Mark how he started to sing, he still knew I had a hard head at that time, and I wasn't really listening. So now back to Matthew's version of it, Matthew 14, verses 32 through 33.
When they got into the boat, the wind ceased, and those who were in the boat came and worshipped him, saying, truly you are the Son of God.
That's what there's, oh, you really are the Son of God. We said it on the water, but now we get it. Now we get it. You really are. The wind, the waves obey you. You heal people. You really are from God. And it's starting to sink in. It's finally starting to sink in. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, they all noticed different things about that event that they pointed out. But the sum total of it was, when God does something, how are we going to react to it? Some people say, oh, he's a prophet, let's make him king. It's like, no, it's not time for that yet. Well, I'm the Son of God, and there's something I need to do. He's still trying to teach them. I came here to do a different thing. And you're not getting that part. But at least get the part where you understand who I am. And then once you understand who I am, then I'll tell you why I came. So you first have to understand who he is first and what he can do. Like that scripture you said that you like. Be still and know I'm God. You got to get it. What does that mean? If he's God, what does that mean? And then we can understand next what his purpose is. We have to understand first who I am. Those who come to me must understand who I am, and then I'm a rewarder of them who diligently seek me. First understand that I am. You got to get that. And then understand that if you seek me diligently, I will reward that. Yes?
Where does it say,
I don't know.
even, who is this man? Even the winds and the waves obey.
Right, that's what they said in this part right here. Right in this part right here. I just didn't put that scripture in. But that's what they said. Even the way, who is he? Right? So we have to get it. Who is he? What does that mean? And then what is the purpose? What does he want from me? And how can I follow? Okay, so we'll go on to the next week, and hopefully by the end we'll be as smart as the disciples were. And get all the lessons.
You got to remember, right? We have to remember what he's done for us. And when we come to these situations, we have to remember to just rely on him.
Right. But first we have to remember to ask him, what do you want me to do? You want me to get a motorcycle? Is that what you want? Because you can't make Jesus protect you on the motorcycle if you didn't tell me to get it. But I'm just talking. Yes, sir.
I think we mentioned that, who is this man?
Yeah.
I've seen the sequence now, because the first time when the boat got messed up, that's when they said that, because he said, peace be still.
Right.
And he controlled the wind, but yet the next time it went along, they forgot.
They forgot.
The first time.
Right.
It's like, you know, the miracle with the boat, so forth. He's just showing them how.
They have something to do with our finite mind.
Right.
Yeah.
But we can fix that. That's why he says, you're blessed if you meditate on my word day and night. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he meditates day and night. First scripture I learned in Bible study, vacation Bible school. And I said, oh, I guess you're supposed to study the word day and night. And then you'll be blessed. So, you know, thank you for coming to Bible study on Wednesday nights and coming to Sunday school. But we have to study every day, right? Read it, study, meditate on it. Then you have confidence that what you're doing, the choices that you're making, are because he told you to do it. And then when the winds blow, you don't have to worry. But if we're just doing stuff because we want to do it, when the winds blow, we might be in a Jonah situation. And that wind's going to just knock us over. We might be in a Paul situation. So there's the three types of storms. So when the winds blow, if we know he said, come on, then we don't have to be scared because he's going to rescue us. But if we've made our own choices, and when the wind blows, then just jump out the ship. Like Jonah said, just throw me out the ship because this wind's not going to stop until I get off. Yeah, because I'm wrong. I'm in error. So just throw me off. Throw me overboard. So that's what we have to find. We have to find out. And that's important, and that comes from meditating on his word. And then we'll know with confidence we're doing what he said to do. Okay, thank you so much. I again appreciate all of you guys who are so smart. I'm able to teach this stuff in a different way because you're all kind of Bible scholars. So we're able to get into the personality of Peter and able to get deeper into the lessons because you're all
So
smart.
it's important for us to hear the word, learn it,
Yes,
ask God
right.
where, when, how,
Yes,
and then
then,
study.
right. Exactly. Okay, let's bow our heads. Father, we just thank you so much.